All right, third round, anchor time, baby. So hopefully you guys were able to check out Addison's intro for the first round, Ray Garvin, Mr. Hotcakes and Henny himself for the second round, and so I'm bringing to you guys the third round of the DLF video mock. We've gone through our thoughts and processes for each. Same thing here in the final round. So while most folks might not be too interested in third round picks in the rookie drafts, we're hoping you guys see the value of some of the prospects we've picked up here. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed all of the picks so far, and let's get right on into it.
This is Bruce Mattson, senior staff writer for DLF, and for the first pick of the third round, the 3.01 for DLF's rookie mock draft, I am drafting Tyler Johnson. There's a lot I like about this guy. He broke out at age 19, and he is a market share marvel, a dominator rating machine. He owned a 44.75% market share of the offensive production, the passing production, I could say, at age 19, 43% at age 20, 36.96 at 21 years of age. And he's a baller. He's pro ready. And he may slip in the draft, but I could see him starting day one. There's a good potential of that. He's also a wild card, but at this price point, it's just a lock to draft him here. It's a good value. I would pay a mid-second round rookie pick to draft him. I like him here at this spot. I think whoever drafts him is going to get a gem, and I like Tyler Johnson a lot. I've been watching him for the last few years now. He's a good route runner, has good ball skills, bodies up defenders at the catch point. Another wide receiver I was looking at this part of the draft was Lynn Bowden. It was between those two. It was kind of close, but ultimately went with Tyler Johnson. Been a big fan of him for quite some time. Been watching him. Big Ten advocate here, since, as you can see from the hat, I'm a High State fan. Minnesota, been watching them all along. I like Tyler Johnson. He was able to eat too with Rashad Bateman on the other side. Good season in his final year at Minnesota with a stud wide receiver cannibalizing some of the targets. So Tyler Johnson, book him up, man. I'm drafting him 301, and yeah, I'm excited about it.
What's up, everyone? It's Mike Me Up, back at you again for the DLF rookie mock draft. And with my third overall pick at 3.02, I decided to go with Donovan Peoples-Jones. Now, he's someone that's pretty divisive within the community. I myself, I'm not the biggest fan of him. I do see some of the upside, but he's someone where he's got a lot of athleticism. This guy jumped out the gym at the combine, and he had some early on production, but really fell off this year. And a lot of people attribute that to really, really bad quarterback play. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones and probably Jalen Reagor had two of the worst quarterbacks thrown to them in college football this year, and it showed in terms of their catchable targets, which were both of them right in like the bottom five, if I recall correctly. And for me, again, it just comes down to the fact that I'm trying to identify players that I think will get draft capital. And he's gotten a lot of buzz in like the main NFL media, performed really well at the combine, was a highly touted prospect going into college as well. So I think just like all those things factoring in, I could totally see him getting taken in like round 2. Some people even mock him in the round 1, which would be crazy. But if that happened, you can easily flip him for a profit, right? I'm taking him in the third. If I can flip him for a 2021 second in a short period of time, I think that's a pretty big W. So that's kind of my strategy when I'm looking at things in the third, where I can kind of flip and sell those guys. I'm not trying to hit home runs, but if I can make small profits, that's like usually my go-to. So hopefully you found that guy's helpful, and ended up taking my guy DPJ.
All right, so I'm back on the clock again. This time we are sitting at the 303. Things going through my mind right now, there's a lot of running back value that's on the board. I have one running back target and one wide receiver target in this draft so far, and I've already taken 2 wide receivers, so I'm going to take my chance on the running back here, and that's going to be Anthony McFarland, the running back out of Maryland. So the reason why I'm taking him here is I want a pure upside play with the shot that he can get drafted early in the NFL draft. Right now, there's been a lot of talk of Anthony McFarland being a late day 2, early day 3 pick. And if those rumors are true, that means I'm getting quite a stud here in the third round of our rookie drafts. He's coming in at 5'9", 198 pounds. This is a guy that does catch passes pretty well. I think overall, if you're looking at his tape from this past season in 2019 at Maryland, I think you're going to see a lackluster performance, but not just from him, but from everyone on that Terrapins offense. He came in with 114 rushes on 614 yards, so just under 5.5 per carry. What I really like about him is just he has incredible burst. When you see him playing, as a Minnesota fan like I am, I got to see him play against Minnesota in the 2018 season, and he's single-handedly the reason why Maryland beat Minnesota. So he's a complete game changer, especially if people in the NFL see that as well. Throughout college, he's been a guy that can easily win a game for Maryland just by himself. And that's definitely something I'm looking for in this rookie draft, because then I'm able to really take my shot. And if he ends up failing, well, that's all right, because we already know that there's about a 5 to 10% chance that a third round pick's going to hit anyways. So I might as well go for the boom play and hope that I can find some gold. Especially with running backs, it just takes one injury for them to find fantasy success, and then I'm able to either trade him or use him for the time that he's, playing as a starting running back, or I can trade him for even more than I bought him for, which is definitely something that we look for running backs that we draft later in rookie drafts. So I'm pretty happy to get Anthony McFarland Jr. at this spot at the 303.
All right, what's going on, y'all? It is Chris Allen at the 304 in the Dynasty League Football video mock. And I wound up taking Justin Herbert here as my final pick in the draft. So I took him at QB3 in the overall draft. Joe Burrow, Tua already taken ahead of him. So I felt that this was good value. And actually, to highlight some of the key things that he brings to the table, I wanted to put some spotlight on one of our contributors here at DLF to help kind of illustrate my point. And with that, I'm going to turn over to Frank Gruber, his piece that he's got over at DLF. Go ahead and check that out if you can. But his piece actually helps, I guess, illustrate some of the reasons for taking him here. He does have one of the better paths to becoming a starting quarterback at the NFL level as soon as he's drafted. Just depends on team fit and where he winds up at. But we'll see how the draft kind of shakes out here later this month. But he kind of walks through like his ascension. I mean, he is a 4-year starter, but you can look at at least 3-year starter rather. But as he's continued to develop in college, you can see some of those numbers continuing to pick up as he gained experience. And also from a film perspective, Frank kind of walks through like what he's capable of doing once he's on the field. But finally, I mean, with his athletic measurables, 6'6", about 230, 240, but also we saw at the combine he was actually able to move a little bit and show some of his athleticism. His adjusted speed score is actually pretty good for his size. It does show that his athleticism will be another, I guess, tool in his tool belt, like once he gets to the NFL. So his dynasty value, I think, should ascend like at wherever he winds up landing. I mean, you can put him in that Josh Allen, like that type of mold, but I think his biggest knock is his completion percentage, which should be one of those things that drafters should be aware of, like when they go to select him. So again, all of it depends on landing spot, but I do like what I saw. I do like the value of what I saw here. So with that, at the 304, I wound up taking Justin Herbert. We'll see how things work out in the draft. All right, who's up next?
Hey, all, Frank Gruber with the 305. I'm taking Zack Moss, which is a pure value play. The hope is that he goes, about 5th round of the NFL draft in a favorable landing spot, and he's a player that I can flip within 1 or 2 years, within a short holding period. Second factor influencing the pick was that my higher upside targets were all taken, so the pick is a less than enthusiastic Zack Moss with 305.
With the 306 pick in the DLF pre-draft rookie mock, I select Lynn Bowden Jr., wide receiver from Kentucky. When you're on the clock, I'm a big proponent of getting your guys, and Lynn Bowden Jr. is one of my guys. I actually have Eno Benjamin ranked a little bit higher than Bowden, but when you look around the NFL, you don't really see that many open spots on depth charts for running backs to come in and make an instant impact. And I don't think Benjamin's going to see significant enough draft capital to be a difference-making fantasy running back, even though I like his talent quite a bit. So when it comes to Lynn Bowden, he's a fun evaluation because no matter what position he's playing, he's an extremely dynamic player who is a threat with the ball in his hands. He's a unique prospect. He's a terrific returner, which is always something I covet in prospects at the skill positions. And he actually finished with the most rushing yards in the SEC and was named the Paul Hornung Award winner as the nation's most versatile player. Now, just for some background, some previous award winners to win the Paul Hornung Award are Rondale Moore, the terrific Purdue wide receiver, Saquon Barkley, Jabril Peppers, Christian McCaffrey, Odell Beckham, among others. But to be named the nation's most versatile player is clearly something to be coveted, and it shows that Bowden has a unique and translatable skill set. He showed a lot of promise as a receiver in 2018, catching 67 passes for 745 yards and 5 touchdowns, and started the 2019 season at receiver as well. Had about 27 receptions for 330 yards in the first 4 games of the season, and then had to move to quarterback throughout the remainder of the season after 2 injuries at the quarterback position for Kentucky. From that point on, from week 6 on, Bowden rushed the ball 172 times for nearly 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns, leading the SEC in rushing yards, not only as a player that doesn't play running back. It was like kind of a wildcat quarterback position that he was playing. Shows that he's a gamer and a really talented player and someone that I would bet on. The one issue I have with Bowden is that he's kind of raw as a receiver because he doesn't have that much experience at the position, and he's played different roles for Kentucky. So being versatile is good for coaches that know how to use a versatile prospect in different ways, but it's in the realm of possibilities that he gets labeled as a positionless player that doesn't really suit what a lot of teams are looking to do with the receiver position. So having said that, reports from plugged-in media members make me think that Bowden is thought of relatively highly by the league, and that is good enough for me.
This is Noah Balwig, writer at Dynasty League Football, and with the 7th pick in the 3rd round of the pre-mock rookie draft, I'm selecting Eno Benjamin, running back out of Arizona State. What I like about Benjamin is the way that his game translates into the NFL. A player that caught 35 receptions his sophomore year, 42 receptions his junior year, and back in his sophomore year, almost 2,000 scrimmage yards. A little bit of a decline, 1,400 scrimmage yards in 2019, but a player with great lateral quickness, good agility. His numbers at the combine were pretty underwhelming, a 4.57 in the combine, and didn't test well in the strength category, and I think that's where he needs to improve upon as a prospect, but should fit into any type of offense in the passing game and be a good 3rd down option. I don't see him becoming a workhorse running back in any type of role, but definitely someone that is going to get involved. Kind of reminds me of a Tariq Cohen type player, more so in the usage than the actual similarity. So with the 7th pick in the 3rd round, Eno Benjamin, running back, Arizona State.
What's up, everyone? Addison Hayes here, and with my 308 pick, for the sake of not pronouncing his last name, I drafted Albert O, tight end out of Missouri. And at this point in the draft, late 3rd round, I'm really looking for players who have either some sort of draft capital, athleticism, or an opportunity to ascend their depth charts quickly. And really, when it comes down to drafting Albert O, he has kind of a boom or bust type of profile here. His collegiate stats analytically, they're not fantastic, but what he did at the combine, he ran a 4.49 40 at 6'5", over 250 pounds, which is phenomenal. When you look at previous tight ends with that type of a speed score, you were looking at only 6 other players. We're looking at James Hanna, a 6th-round pick who was perennially Jason Witten's backup in Dallas. Rob Hausler, who was the tight end in Arizona during the Kevin Cobb years and then just kind of faded out. Matt Jones, who actually translated to a wide receiver once he got to the NFL and had a pretty decent fourth season with over 100 targets. And then we got the big three: Greg Olsen, Jimmy Graham, and Vernon Davis are the other three tight ends. These are all guys who have posted a speed score of a 125 or more, which Albert O did. So that's really what I'm looking for here with my pick, is a player who has the potential to enter that echelon of George Kittle or Travis Kelce or, Zach Ertz or Hunter Henry or Mark Andrews, that type of top 5, top tier tight end talent. And if I can find that in the late third round and that's what he becomes, then I have so many other opportunities to do stuff with the rest of my roster or trade Albert O in specifically because, and just reap the rewards of that ROI. So that's really what I'm looking for, is that boom or bust type of option, and Albert O fits that bill. And if he doesn't do anything, it was a late third round pick. If he does turn into something, then I got some really good production on my team, or I have some trade capital now to kind of play around with a player that I only got in the late third round. So that's why I went with Albert O, and that is why I think all of you guys should go with Albert O as a late round dart throw in all of your rookie drafts. So good luck to all you guys with your rookie mocks, and grab some Albert O.
Hey guys, Matt Griffith here, back on the clock in the DLF mock draft, and in the third round at the 309, I'm selecting Chase Claypool, wide receiver from Notre Dame. Obviously, Chase's name has shot up boards post-combine. All the measurables, all the tangibles. The dude is an athletic specimen, freak, 6'4", 238, ran the 4.42 and had a 40.5-inch vertical, I believe. Late breakout, didn't really do anything of significance at Notre Dame until his senior year, but somebody, a GM, somebody's going to fall in love with the athletic specimen that he is, a la DK Metcalf. I think he is a guy that's not going to make it past Friday. He won't see Saturday. He's going to be a day 2 draft pick, more than likely the third round. Could potentially see him go in the second round. I believe Matt Miller's mock shows him going 44 overall to the Colts, which feels a little high, but is not unrealistic at all. So, dude is just a monster. A lot of these guys really want to hit on the next kind of athletic monster that you could light up, outside. You could put somewhere in a mismatch spot, like as a kind of like a flex tight end type role. Even I've heard that rumor floating around a little bit. Some of the comps I've seen have him comp to Miles Boykin, his former teammate, who's now in the Ravens. I actually like Miles Boykin a lot. He's kind of like a low-key buy target for me. It's just with the Ravens pairing, it's just not that intriguing. But if he was anywhere else, I would be trying to target him right now. Everybody kind of likes a big, athletic, freaky receiver that you can line up, throw fades to in the end zone, mismatch with cornerbacks. And, the DK thing, everybody slept on DK last year, and all he did was just go ball out at the end of the season. So I could see people wanting to reach a little bit on a guy like this. I actually have him lumped in the same tier as a Donovan Peoples-Jones and with Michael Pittman, both who I like a lot. Pittman more so because I feel like I can get him later. But in this mock, actually Pittman went in the early second and DPJ went in the early third. So to be able to get a guy who I have same tiered as them at the 309, who I think will get day 2 capital, I'm all about that and that upside. And once again, it's a high upside pick, shooting for the stars here. So Miles Boykin at the 309. Chase Claypool with the 309.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Adam Wilde drafting at the 310 spot in the DLF Staff League mock draft. This is single QB, and I am taking Jalen Hurts. Let me talk about Jalen Hurts for a second. Over 5,000 yards of total offense. 52 touchdowns accounted for. 32 passing, 20 rushing. Only 8 interceptions. And people are talking about this guy at the 2.07 in Superflex mock drafts, and we're talking about 310 in the 1 QB mock draft. I don't play in one quarterback anymore, but when I did, I was always taking shots on those Konami code quarterbacks at the end of the third round and just seeing what you can get, because everybody can find a productive quarterback in 1 QB leagues. But if you can get one of those guys with the upside like Jalen Hurts and he goes to a system that'll use him, like perhaps the Saints, we're talking huge upside and a big advantage even in 1 quarterback leagues.
All right, so I'm back on the clock, 3:11. I went Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first, Darrington Evans in the second, and here I am in the third. And I'm going to take another running back right here. All the wide receivers who I was really enamored with are kind of off of the board, so I'm looking for upside. The running back position is fragile. These dudes play, man. We've seen the San Francisco 49ers use 3 and 4 running backs. The New England Patriots laid the blueprint. Hell, the Philadelphia Eagles, some guy named Boston Scott started getting 2 carries and touches towards the end of the season. So I'm going to take the UCLA rusher who posted back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, who's shown an ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, who did test better than everybody expected at the NFL Combine, and he's got that prototypical size. So Joshua Kelley is somebody that I really like, and to get here at 311, get him here at 311, I think that's a win, man. I'll take it. Edwards-Helaire, Darrington Evans, Joshua Kelley, sign me up, baby. 311. Pick is in.
With the final pick, 3.12 in the pre-draft DLF rookie mock, Nathan Powell, I select Cole Kmet, tight end, Notre Dame. So at this stage of the rookie draft, I'm basically looking for guys who have draft capital left. And this is predicted draft capital because obviously the draft hasn't happened yet, so maybe some guys will sneak in that will end up being, second, third round running backs, wide receivers. But at this stage, second, third round wide receivers and running backs are gone. They're all gone. And so you're looking at 1 first round quarterback in Jordan Love, or you're looking at 1 day 2 tight end left in Cole Kmet. So I'm going with Cole Kmet at the 312 pick. He has some good metrics. He has the 83rd percentile speed score and 88th percentile burst score via player profiler. And good metrics, likely good draft capital, and had 12.0 yards per catch, average four catches per game in 2019. So all those things come together, and I think that he's worth a flyer at the 312 pick. But yeah, like I said, this is just a matter of there's not much left as far as running back and wide receiver. I don't think any of them are going to be going day 2. So I'm going to take the day 2 tight end, Cole Kmet, and go from there.
All right, y'all. We did it. That is it. That is our full video mock draft here over at DLF. And we thank you guys so much for checking out all 3 rounds of our picks, thoughts, and processes for how we wound up with each of the selections that we made throughout this draft. So with that, again, thank you guys for checking it out. Please, if you get a chance, drop down, click that little bell underneath each of the videos, and go ahead and subscribe to our channel. So anytime we have content dropping over at DLF, or at least video content, you'll be notified immediately. So you'll know whenever we've got mailbag shows, drafting lesson shows, Devy shows, Daily Minute. I mean, all of that content that you guys have seen here, most of the contributors that you've seen here today, you'll get notified as soon as they get some more of their work out. So with that, please like, rate, review, subscribe, drop a comment. Let us know what you think about our picks and if you see something different coming on down the line. But with that, hope everybody's safe, and we'll catch y'all later.